And we're live.
Great. Welcome, everybody, to the second night of Elasmo Week. My name is Dr. David Schiffman, and I'm your host for this event. Elasmo Week is an outreach event about the science of elasmobranchs, which are sharks, skates, and rays, and the scientists who study them. The week is all about diversity. The goal is to highlight the diversity of the scientists, the many ways of doing elasmobranch research, and to show off as many weird and wonderful species as possible every year. Elasmo Week wants to make a platform where real scientists can share their love and work with the public. Tonight we have two speakers at this going at the same time, which will be a departure from what we've seen so far, but should be a lot of fun. First, we have Annabel Gong, who is a first-year master student at the University of San Diego, studying leopard shark aggregation behavior using drones. Aside from Sharky research, Annabel co-hosts a podcast called LGBTQ+ STEMcast, which interviews LGBTQ+ scientists from around the world. And Jaida Elcock is a graduate student at the University of Washington. Her research focuses on elasmobranch ecology and conservation, and she is particularly interested in the movement ecology of migratory elasmobranchs, as this information is still unknown for many species. Jaida received her BS in biology with honors from Northern Arizona University. She has been recognized as an American Elasmobranch Society Young Professional Recruitment Fund Scholar and an honorable mention for the National Science Foundation Graduate Research Fellowship Program. Jaida is an active science communicator through social media and enjoys doing outreach with any age group. You can follow both of them on Twitter with the information that will be in the YouTube bio. And take it away, Jaida and Annabel.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Yes, this screen. Yay. You guys can see it, right?
I can see it, that's for sure.
Okay, fantastic. Oh, wait, I didn't mean to hit share. I meant to hit present.
Oh, no.
Anyway, sorry. Cool. We are going to be rating underrated elasmobranchs, or sharks specifically, because sharks, there's so many of them, and so many of them just don't get the credit that they deserve. So we want to talk about some of the ones that don't get that credit.
Yeah, and they are wacky and cool and deserve all the love.
Yes, love the sharks. Okay, let's get started. Oh my goodness. There we go. Cool. Let's start with the Epaulette Shark. I love the Epaulette Shark. First of all, their name is perfect. They were named for these little black spots on their shoulders. I think that they are so precious. They're adorable. I've worked with them in an aquarium before. And the coolest thing about them is they're known as the land shark, and they can kind of walk on land, and they can survive without oxygen 60 times longer than humans can. So you can see this gif of one walking around in a tide pool. When the tide goes out, a lot of times they get trapped in these tide pools and they don't have a lot of water to work with. So they're able to do this. And I just think that that is the coolest thing ever. They deserve some recognition for being able to survive so long without oxygen. So 180 out of 10, 1 point for each minute that they can supposedly survive out of water.
Wait, so if the Epaulette shark it survives 180 minutes out of the water, that means we as humans can only survive 180 divided by 63 minutes without oxygen?
Yes, I believe that that is accurate.
Oh my goodness. I feel so weak compared to the shark.
That's my point, man. Epaulette sharks deserve so much recognition. They're so awesome and they're so cute. Look at them. They're not that big. They're pretty small, and they deserve some recognition. They're pretty awesome.
They're so goofy. I love how they just slither on the water, kind of like
I
on the land.
Oh my God.
Alrighty. Up next, we have the spinner shark, and the spinner shark is very well named for their spinning abilities. They have these black fin tips, which are so cool. The only difference between, say, a black fin tip shark, reef shark, and a spinner shark is that the spinner shark actually has some extra black tips on their fins. They're found in coastal waters, and they are known for their sick X Games spinning moves. which they do outside of the water for fun, but also while they forage, which is really interesting behavior for a shark. Overall, I would give them a 17 out of 10 for their sick moves. If Tony Hawk was up against this shark, he would stand no chance.
Yeah. So I know that there's also a spinner dolphin, and a lot of people know about that. And when I bring up spinner sharks, people are like, oh, I thought that was a dolphin. I'm like, there's also a shark that does the same thing. Recognize, man, elasmobranchs are pretty cool. So yeah, I think that this is super cool. I didn't know that they did it while they forage as well, which is really interesting.
I didn't know that either. They kind of spin in this circle and they trap the fish, and then they spin upwards. And basically that's how they forage, apparently. So
they just like torpedo. Wow,
yeah.
That's really cool. Oh, points to the spinner shark. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Next, we're talking about my favorite shark, the Thresher Shark. There are 3 species of Thresher Shark. There's common Thresher, the pelagic Thresher, and the big eye Thresher. Sorry. And my favorite thing about them is that they hunt not with their mouth like most sharks, but with their tails. So you notice that their tail is pretty much half of their body length, and they use it basically to swim really fast, stop on a dime, and whip a huge bait ball of prey in front of them. And then they can just kind of go through and collect whatever's not moving anymore. And that is one of the coolest modes of hunting that I've ever heard of. I'm obsessed with these guys for that specific reason. Also, they have weak endothermy, a small amount of endothermy, but it's not crazy. Basically, they just use it to keep their eyes and their brain warm in colder water so they can still function pretty well and they can see well. But there's another shark that goes above and beyond with endothermy, which we're going to get to later. But another thing I love about these guys is they always look like they just realized they have homework due at 11:59, but it's currently 11:45. And they know that there's just no way they're getting that assignment done to the best of their abilities, but they have to submit something. So I just love how terrified and nervous they look all the time. And I need to point out this beautiful image right here of me and another Miss co-founder, Amani, doing our best impression of a Thresher Shark because we had to.
Oh, I thought those were pictures of Thresher Sharks.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, they are. You're right. I'm sorry. So this shark gets a 20 out of 10 because without their tail, they would only be a 10 out of 10. You see what I did there?
Yeah. I mean, that's such a long tail, and I can only imagine the amount of like strength it must take to whip that tail too, because it's so hard to like move underwater.
I can't even imagine. They've got to have all the muscles. They're efficient predators. Their hunting mode is, I love it. It's unique, it's cool, and they're just adorable. So,
and is that one leaping out of the water there too?
Yeah, I didn't know that they could do that. I'm not surprised that they can do that because if they can swim fast, they can launch themselves out of the water. I've just never seen a picture before. So I thought that was pretty cool. I had to include it.
That is so sick.
Yeah.
All right, up next we have the zebra shark. The zebra shark also has a really long tail. You can see in that lower left-hand picture there for faster swimming. That tail can grow as long as their bodies. And just look at that super adorable mouth. I absolutely love that mouth. It's just like, I don't know, it's just so small and it looks like it's like kind of smiling. And then the only thing about zebra sharks that I have a problem with is that there are absolutely no stripes on them. They're spotted and it's confusing. So why are they even called this to begin with? If you'll go to the next slide, the reason why that they're called this is because baby zebra sharks look like actual zebra patterns. But then you have this whole ordeal with the leopard shark, and then people get mixed up between them. So that's why the zebra shark only got a 12 out of 10 out of me. And also, some people in Australia call zebra sharks leopard sharks. I don't know. It's pretty confusing, but that brings me to
Yeah,
the
in
leopard
Australia, they switched the names.
Yeah, why did they do that? This is why.
Yeah, no, well, in Australia, they go off of what they look like as juveniles, and in America, we go off of what they look like as adults. So that's why they're switched.
I see. This is why we need scientific nomenclature.
Yes.
Yeah, so this brings me to my favorite shark, the leopard shark. This is the shark that I study in San Diego, La Jolla, California. They have these amazing saddle-looking patterns on their backs that kind of stripe across their backs. As you can see in that lower right-hand picture there, that's actually a picture I took overhead from my drone the other week. They are about 5 to 6 feet long, so they're kind of small. And the best part about them that I personally like is that they act like cats. And I find that super adorable. I was working in tank with them, and they just like to bump into your legs and just cuddle with you, kind of. It's so strange. It's so strange, but I love it. So that makes them the best shark, and I gave them 10,000 out of 10 because they deserve it.
Fair enough. I love them. I think they're adorable, and they're so cute. I can't get over it.
Yeah, they're just, and the best part about, I think, the leopard sharks down here in San Diego is that the ones that I study are all mama leopard sharks who aggregate in this sheltered cove where the water's warmer, where they incubate their baby leopard sharks in their tummies, and I think that's the cutest thing ever.
Oh my goodness, that's adorable. Oh, yes, I like this rating. That's a good rating.
Thank you.
So before I start this, I am going to take this off. It's a little toasty in here. No worries though. This is the shark that I was talking about that goes above and beyond for their endothermy. So first we need to address the fact that they do look like tiny white sharks. My friend asked me if she could have one. Of course I told her no, but can you blame her? Look, they're so cute.
It looks like a plushie. Like I want to.
It does. It doesn't look real. I absolutely love it. But these guys have very strong endothermy because they live in the cold waters of the very North Pacific up by like Alaska and Canada. They can raise their body temperature up to 60 degrees Fahrenheit above the ambient water temperature, which is ridiculous. I don't understand how a fish can do that. I mean, actually, I do understand how a fish can do that because here we have the countercurrent heat exchange system. So as you can see, can you see my mouse? Fantastic. Okay. So as we see, this is warm blood becoming cold blood. This is cold blood that we want to get warmer. So they have their veins basically going in two different directions next to each other so that when heat is being exchanged, you don't just max out at 50%. You can get to near 100 and you can keep warming your body. So I think that is a really, really interesting ability. Fish also do this with oxygen, so they have a countercurrent oxygen gas exchange system. But the fact that these guys can do it with heat, I think, is really, really interesting, and they should be recognized for it because I know a lot of people don't know about salmon sharks, and a lot of people should know about them because an endothermic shark, like that's one of the craziest things ever. So I absolutely love them, and we're going to give them a 700 out of 10. Completely arbitrary number, but they deserve it.
I definitely agree. And I just love how big their eyes are, like their pupils. They just look like a cartoon character.
They do. They really do. They're so cool, though. Oh, I love these guys. Yeah, awesome. Oh, this one's also mine. Sorry. The Bonnethead Shark. I love the Bonnethead Shark. One of my favorites. They are the best hammerhead. Please don't fight me on it. You will lose.
I won't. I won't fight you. I agree.
Yes, they are hilariously cute. They always look sad. I mean, look at this little face. I don't know why he looks so sad, but he does. I just want to cheer him up. But the coolest thing about this shark, and the reason that they are the best hammerhead, is because they're the only known omnivorous shark in the entire world. They can eat and get nutrients from seagrasses, and no other shark that we've ever found can do that. And that's really interesting. Like the fact that we've thought of sharks as being completely and purely carnivorous. And then we find out, I think it was like 2 or 3 years ago, so pretty recently, that there's actually an omnivorous shark. That is really cool. So absolutely deserves a 15,000 out of 10 for being super unique and for being the only omnivorous shark. That is the coolest fact and one of my favorite facts ever, and the reason that this is the best hammerhead.
That is so interesting. Like, I'm wondering how the like evolution behind that worked, especially since Jasmine yesterday was talking about the different shapes of like hammerhead heads. It would be so interesting to see the evolution of hammerhead diet as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that'd be really cool. And just the fact that this guy decided to do something so weird and like out of the ordinary for sharks, I want to know why and how that happened.
Yeah, I feel like this is almost like the whole panda ordeal where it's like pandas just started eating bamboo for
Right. No, I love it. Yeah. Oh, these guys are so weird, but
they're so cute.
I'm obsessed with them. Yes, they're so cute. I love them.
All right, up next we have the horn shark. And so as you can see from that top right photo, these horn sharks have really strange looking teeth and a really strange looking mouth. I love those little like curlicues, like that little mustache going on. Those teeth are for crushing invertebrates, which they like to munch on. Horn sharks get their name from the horns just behind their eyes, which I found weird because I always thought it was because of their egg cases. Their egg cases are those spiral-looking things on the bottom right-hand corner. The really cool thing about these cases is that they look like kelp, so they're colorized to blend in with a kelp forest, and they have a really good grip on the rocks because of that spiral shape. And the mama horn shark will actually take the egg case in her mouth and just kind of walk across the seafloor and find a good place for it. And they've got these awesome little pectoral fins that they sometimes use to crawl across the seafloor, much like the Epaulette Shark, I guess, but not as cool as the Epaulette Shark. But overall, I give this shark a 50 out of 10 because I think that they have the coolest egg cases ever, and they're just such a weird looking shark too.
Yes, I love them. I think they're so cute, and I love that their egg cases are so weirdly shaped, and I would imagine that it's super efficient for like gripping in like rocky crevices that nothing can pull it out. But also, like, we know so much about sharks that give live birth, and I feel like there's not many sharks that people talk about that lay eggs, and this is obviously the coolest of the eggs. So like this
totally.
Shark needs to be recognized. Yes. Yeah. Oh my gosh. They're so cute. I love them.
Yeah.
We're going to talk about a shark that's not so cute, but I think is cute. The Wobbegong shark. They are fun, flat, bearded boys, and they look like this for camouflage. Stealth 100. Basically, it is a way to sneak up on their prey. And their prey, obviously, like this fish that you can see down there at the bottom, has no idea what's happening until it's too late, because their mode of hunting is suction feeding. So what they do is they open their mouth really fast. This image is slowed down, by the way, this GIF. If you blink, you're going to miss it. So they open their mouth super fast, and it creates like a pressure differential between the outside of the mouth and the inside of the mouth. And since the pressure is lower inside the mouth, the water goes in the mouth and brings the prey with it. And then chomp, Wobbegong's got a meal. And also look at how funny their little teeth are. They're so small and adorable. And the Wobbegong, also called the Wobbegong, gives the opportunity for this amazing joke, so I have to make it. What do sharks say when they throw paper in the trash can? Wobby.
What? Oh my God.
Very bad joke, but I love it. My friend at the aquarium gave me that joke, and he will yell at me later for stealing it. But 17 out of 10, because look at how flat and funny they are. They're so.
It doesn't even look like a shark.
I know.
It looks like a carpet.
Exactly. Yeah. And honestly, if my dogs were sharks, they would be Wobbegongs because they are schnauzers and they have those little beards. And I just think that the beard is like the best part about this shark. I love it.
I just love the fish in the background of this GIF that like notices what's happening and is like, oh my God.
Oh snap, they got Gerald. We got to get out of here. Oh my gosh. Yes, I love it so much.
I told my friend that I'm going to name my firstborn Wabba so that the kid's name is Wobbegong.
I'm going to scream. You have to do that.
I have to do it. I'm on live YouTube right now. I have to do it.
You have to. You already made the promise.
Sorry, Mom. Up next, we have the Goblin Shark, one of the more well-known, lesser-known sharks, I think, by now. The Goblin Shark gets its name from this Japanese demon called the Tengu, which I'm sure you've seen and know very well as the goblin emoji. So that's where the Goblin Shark gets its little name because of its nose. They've got kind of that same like pointy looking nose. Really scary thing about the Goblin Shark is that it's got this like retractable mouth, I guess. Scientists call it slingshot feeding, and their mouth can basically shoot out at 10 feet per second. So obviously these two GIFs are slowed down very much. But just look at the way it just... why would evolution even do this? I don't know. I don't have an explanation, but they're also humongous. The biggest one that they found was about 12 feet long, and they're found in the deep sea. So we don't see them very often, thank God, because if I saw one of these, I would be spooked to death. I would give this overall a 75 out of 10 for that awesome mouth and weird looking nose.
Yeah, every time I see a video of one of these things, I just like can't believe that it's real. Like that's an animal that exists in our ocean, and most people would be like completely terrified. I think it's really, really cool. I don't want to encounter one, but I think that they're super cool, and like they're just the way that their mouth works. Like a lot of sharks have like that protruding mouth, but none go as far as the Goblin Shark.
Yeah, it's so strange. And the other weird thing about Goblin Sharks is you can't really see it very well in the video, but these sharks are actually pink, a little bit pink. They're not actually like gray. And you can see those like really rich gill slits, just that bright red. I think that's so cool.
Yeah, a pink shark. Like who does not want a pink shark?
Yeah, pink Goblin Shark.
Oh my God, I love it. Now we're going to talk about the Dwarf Lantern Shark.
Oh, it's
not
so
a baby shark, but actually the world's smallest shark, maxing out at about 7.9 inches. So it's honestly, it's like the size of a human hand. Like they're not big at all. As you can see by this picture down here, they are bioluminescent. So they have photophores that create this blue pigmented light, and basically they use it, certain species, it's hypothesized that it's used for a few different reasons, but counter shading is a really strong hypothesis. So if you're a prey item or a predator looking at the shark from below, that blue is gonna blend in with the faint light coming into their layer of the ocean from the surface. And if you're looking at it from the top, there is no glow because they only glow on their stomach. So if you're looking at it from the top, their dark color is going to blend into the black background of the ocean floor. So I think that's really cool. Just the fact that there's a shark that can basically produce its own light is incredible. And so we're going to give it a 16 out of 10.
I honestly think it deserves more for being bioluminescent. Oh my gosh.
I mean, I don't disagree, but at the same time, there are a few other sharks that are bioluminescent as well.
Okay,
so
that's fair.
I couldn't give it too high of a rating. However, I guess maybe they deserve a few more points for being the world's smallest shark. Like that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. I find it interesting that they use bioluminescence for counter shading, because we see counter shading in a lot of sharks too, where they're just light on their tummy, like they're white, and then they're a darker color on their back. So it's so fascinating to me that they use bioluminescence as their or it's possible that they use bioluminescence as counter shading.
Yeah, I mean, I guess it's because they live so deep that like if like you can't, the color of your skin is not going to make a difference with how well something can see you, I guess. So adding that blue light, I guess, might add like some extra level of stealth, because maybe if they were just black on the bottom, you'd be able to see them from below because of that small amount of light. I'm not sure, but the fact that they can do this is remarkable. And so yeah, 16 out of 10. Probably should be higher, you're right, but I love it.
Up next, we have the Sixgill and the Sevengill shark. And I will just say, I had never seen a Sixgill or Sevengill shark in my life. I had never so when I was Google imaging these pictures, I saw the Sixgill shark in the top right corner. This is a baby Sixgill shark. And I texted Jaida and I was like, how have I gone my entire life without seeing this shark? It is so adorable. They just look so stupid, but in a good way. So the Sixgill sharks are quite interesting. As their name implies, they have 6 gills. As opposed to other sharks that typically have 5 gills. The interesting thing about them also is that they only have 1 dorsal fin, which is that back dorsal fin there, compared to other sharks that have 2 dorsal fins, one being kind of midway through its body. And these sharks are found in the deep sea, which I think is very cool. As for the Sevengill shark, they, as a surprise to no one, have 7 gills and also only have 1 dorsal fin. But the difference between 6 gills and 7 gills, aside from their number of gills, is that they have 7 gills are found in coastal waters. So we actually get bycatch sometimes of 7-gill sharks when we're fishing for sharks out in the cove, in La Jolla Cove. And sometimes they're 7 gills, and they're actually quite big, so it's a little freaky. Overall, I would rate the 6-gill shark a 16 out of 10, and the 7-gill shark a 17 out of 10. 10 plus 1 for each gill that they have.
I love it. I will say, it weirds me out that there is a missing gill slit, or dorsal fin that should be right here. It's just not there.
It doesn't look right to me. It looks like it's photoshopped.
Yeah, it's super interesting, but I mean, that's just the way they are, I guess. I wonder what happened to make them lose that dorsal fin.
Yeah, I wonder if they still have it, just hidden in their body, like a vestigial structure kind of deal.
I don't know. It's an interesting concept, though. I would love to figure out what exactly happened, or evolutionarily, why did they lose it?
Yeah. And that 7-gill shark looks like it's missing its dentures too. It's like, woo.
Yes. I know there's another shark that I have on here that I feel the same way about, but you're absolutely right. They look like they should have dentures. Their teeth are so hidden.
It's so funny.
Oh, I didn't realize that shark that's missing dentures came up right now. So this is the Basking Shark. It is the 2nd largest fish in the ocean, and I believe that it deserves the amount of praise that we give the whale shark. They're similar in their lifestyle, kind of, because they are both filter feeders. The difference is the Basking Shark is a passive filter feeder. So rather than sucking water into its mouth, trying to get plankton to come in, this guy just opens its mouth and just swims and hopes that it gets something. My mom says that she loves this shark because it sounds very lazy. I can't disagree. Yeah. So it has 2 states that I like to call, it's very scientific, old man and windsock. That's what they look like. That's how I refer to them all the time. My friends can attest to that. And apparently they jump out of the water. I wanted to make their joke that they have to get their sun basking in somehow, but in reality, the best hypothesis we have for why they jump is to get rid of external parasites. I love these guys. They look goofy. They are so cute, and I think just the fact that they're the second largest fish in the ocean and they're passive filter feeders, they deserve more praise because of that. Honestly, like they're just really interesting sharks, and I really like them. So 50 out of 10 because
move aside, whale shark. We don't need you.
I mean, I won't go that far. I do love the whale shark, but
okay, yeah, that's true.
He needs to be up there, and he really does.
I just love that it goes its whole life just kind of floating around with its mouth open, just like, I don't know. It's just such a funny image in my head.
I imagine it would be like if you ate like one M&M every like 2 minutes for your entire life. So you're never actually like really hungry, but you're never full because you just these like frustratingly small portions because like you're such a large animal and all you do is just hope that you're getting your food. I don't know. I think that I wouldn't be able to survive. I love me a good meal.
Oh, and same.
Props to
I love feeling like I can't move for 2 days after a good meal.
Yes. You eat so much that you just need to be horizontal for a few minutes. That's, yes, absolutely amazing.
Oh, yeah, completely.
So props to these guys for never getting like a gigantic, I don't know, passive filter feeding is crazy to me. Good for them.
So we have another filter feeder up next. We have the Megamouth Shark. These were the only pictures I could find of the Megamouth Shark. They are super duper rare. What even is this shark? I'm not even sure. Scientists aren't even sure. We know very little about this shark. But they are filter feeders with those weird, the weird mouth and the teeth. I don't really know what's going on there. It looks like they just have a really gummy smile. Thank goodness they're filter feeders, because if I encountered this one, I would be scared. This next bullet point says, weird mouth, question mark, question mark, question mark. Just to reiterate, they have a very strange looking mouth. They're also really, really big, just like most filter feeders are. The biggest that was caught was 23 feet long. And for that reason, I will just have to give it a 23 out of 10 for being so large and so strange looking.
Yes, I think these guys are so interesting just because like their teeth look like little combs, and I guess that would kind of make sense for filter feeding, and they look unreasonably squishy. I don't know.
Yeah.
They're interesting. Like we really don't have a lot of pictures or videos or specimens of them just because they're just, I would assume that they're just naturally rare, but definitely a weird shark. Doesn't really look like a shark, but it is.
Imagine somewhere deep in the ocean, there's probably a whole metropolis of these Megamouth sharks.
You know how cool that would be? That would be really cool. Oh,
that would be awesome. Also, their eyes are so beady. I feel like they need to have bigger eyes than they actually have.
I could agree with that. They're very large animals, and their eyes, I guess, proportionally are not that large.
Yeah, but I guess if you're living in the deeper parts of the ocean, you don't really need eyes.
Exactly. And they're not called the mega eye shark. They're called the Megamouth Shark for a reason.
If they're filter feeding, that means they're probably like the Basking Shark and just hoping that food comes up, you know?
Yeah. Do you know if these guys are active or passive filter feeders?
I'm not sure, but
okay. I want to say active, but I would need to fact check that. So if you're out there and you're watching this, you should look that up as well. Oh gosh. Okay, let's go on to the Greenland shark. Is a relatively well-known shark, but I still think deserves a little bit more recognition. So most of them are blind because they have these parasitic copepods on their face that just like attack their retinas and they just become blind. They live in the northern Atlantic and the Arctic oceans, and they move incredibly slowly. Like don't typically hit 2 miles per hour. They're very slow. And because of that, they're primarily scavengers and they will eat anything. I'm pretty sure they've found like dead seals in their stomach. They've found polar bear pieces in their stomach. And I'm pretty sure they've also found a reindeer antler because they literally eat whatever they can find, which I guess if you're very slow and can't see anything, whatever's there, you're going to take up the opportunity to eat it. It's like,
so.
it's like a college student. You just pick whatever's there. I was the same way in college. I'm like, hey, free meal, man. I'm taking it.
Oh, completely.
Even if it's not great. But the coolest thing about these guys is they're the oldest known living vertebrate species on the planet. They were alive during Hamilton times, not throwing away my shot. I have not stopped listening to that soundtrack for the last 2 months, by the way. But using radiocarbon dating, they've estimated a certain individual to be 400 years old. And I believe that there is a range that they estimated one individual to be between 300 to 500 years old.
Oh my
and
goodness.
That is insane. Like, wow. Just wow. I can't even imagine what it would be like to be that old. But
yeah, what do you even do with your days?
You move really slowly and hope that a meal passes you by. Like, that's their whole existence. But I mean, yeah, good for these guys for being able to survive for so long. I would assume it's because, like their speed, everything about them is just so slow, like their growth, how fast they mature, reproduction, everything. They're just so slow and prolong everything. So, my other favorite fact about them is that their flesh is toxic and will make you feel like you're drunk. I think that that's hilarious. And people do eat it. You have to prepare it correctly. But if you don't prepare it correctly, it will make you feel like you're drunk. So for that reason, because you need to be 21 to be legally intoxicated, I give this shark a 21 out of 10.
In Europe, it's like 18 sometimes.
See, exactly. Yeah. I've never been to Europe though. So we went by American rules.
So do people purposely not prepare it correctly then?
That's a really good question. See, but I don't know if it's like the side effects make you feel intoxicated, but like might actually be super detrimental to your health. Unsure. So I would hope that they purposefully prepare it correctly so that they don't get sick. Yeah. I've also heard that people will prepare it correctly and then feed it to sled dogs.
Oh, fun.
Which I think is really cool. But yeah, so the Greenland shark, super weird, old man. And
such an old man.
Yes. And I love them. They're so cute.
This one's
not.
Yeah, this one scared me. I thought that it was fake when I first Googled it because I was like, is this thing still alive? Please tell me that this shark is fake. I am scared. This is nightmare fuel. If I saw this shark in my dream, I would wake up in a cold sweat. The really cool thing about this shark, though, is that they have really cool gills. The first set of gills actually goes all the way under their throat, unlike other sharks or even fish, where their gills are just kind of like on their sides. So that's kind of a cool thing about them. However, their teeth are really, really strange, as you can see. They've just got these like weird rows of like, I don't even know how to describe them. They're pointy and scary. Another really cool fact about these frilled sharks is that they're neutrally buoyant, which means that they don't really float, they don't really sink, they just kind of suspend themselves in the water, which makes them kind of move like an eel. So it doesn't even look like a shark. It looks like a prehistoric animal. It looks like a sea monster. Overall, I gave this a negative 545 out of 10 because for being scary, but 17 out of 10 for being cool. Like, if we were rating them on a coolness scale, I would find them to be very cool, but they are also incredibly terrifying looking.
I think they are so goofy looking, and like their teeth remind me of nudibranchs. If you out there don't know what a nudibranch is, it is basically like a type of sea slug, and they have like a lot of like really frilly bits coming off of them. And it looks just like one of those, in my opinion. But yeah, they're a little terrifying, but I think they're really cool.
Now that you put it that way, that they look like nudibranchs, they became like 10 times less scary because I'm just imagining these little nudibranchs crawling out of their mouth.
Ugh. I don't love that image, but
They look like sea monsters though. Like they look like this is what a sea monster would look like if someone told me to imagine a sea monster.
Yeah, I think I've heard that these guys were potentially inspiration for sea monster stories way back when. But I don't know how true that is because they live pretty deep. But maybe
Yeah.
on occasion, if they come to the surface, I could see how someone would think that that is a sea serpent and like an evil, some kind of like sea monster type thing. They're not. They're just, goofy looking sharks. But
Yeah, if I was the person who discovered this shark, I would freak out and pretend I never saw it.
I respect the person who found this and named it after its gills and not the rest of its
I
appearance.
know. There's so many other things to comment on.
Yeah, and the fact like the name makes it sound so adorable, and then you look it up and you're like, oh my goodness, not what I thought it was going to look like at all. So props to whoever found and named this shark because that's amazing.
Yes.
Next we have the Oceanic Whitetip. I think they look like airplanes. Like their pectoral fins are so long, and I love it. I love a good long fin because it's just gorgeous. They're considered to be one of the most widely ranging species in the world. I'm jealous. I've only ever been to Canada and the US, so I would love to be one of these sharks, get around, travel a little bit. They're also sometimes referred to as the shipwreck shark or associated strongly with shipwrecks. And I want to talk about this association because I feel like that scares a lot of people. This shark is associated with shipwrecks basically because, when a fish is dying and it's splashing and it's thrashing around, that's sending out a lot of vibrations that sharks can sense. So the shark will approach and be like, oh, look, prey, perfect. That's how they find food sometimes. So can you imagine the amount of vibrations that's being sent out by a sinking ship? Of course, the sharks are going to show up. They're going to be like, wow, that sounds like an absolute buffet of dying fish. Let's go check it out. And in reality, it's a shipwreck. So I think that these sharks have gotten a very bad reputation. And they're like, oh my gosh. And everyone that sees one, they're like, oh, it's so evil. It's going to eat me. But like, I put this picture in here specifically to show you that like, they're not just vicious things that are going to go after whatever they see. They are strategic about what they eat. They know what they want to eat. They go after their prey items. So, but one shipwreck that they are very strongly associated with is the USS Indianapolis, which went down in 1945. So I gave this a 45 out of 10.
Ah, clever.
Thank
Are
you.
those fish surrounding the shark usually associated with them, or is that just a coincidence?
I feel like most of the pictures I've seen with this shark have had those fish.
Huh.
I'm not sure why. Maybe I think I would assume that this association is a thing because they're both pelagic species, and if I don't know what those fish eat, maybe it's parasites or something. I'm not sure, but that would be my guess as to why there seems to be an association, but I would definitely need to look more into that. But I think it's really interesting, and those fish are so cute and beautiful. So I love this image. Overall, beautiful image.
Yes. That dorsal fin looks really like interestingly shaped too. It looks really wide.
Yeah, it's like super wide and rounded instead of coming to a point, which their pectoral fins do the same thing. And I think that that's one of the reasons why I love these sharks so much, just because they look so different.
Yeah, they look like those airplane gliders that you can like throw up.
Exactly, airplanes. I'm telling you, they're the same. This is an airplane. It's a shark airplane.
Oh, would love to see that. Up next, we have the blue shark. Blue sharks are so funny looking, in my opinion. They've got that really long nose, and they look like they're so worried and so surprised about something, just like the Thresher Shark we were talking about earlier. I just love that it looks so shocked, and it looks like it's panicking that its homework is late. Some really cool facts about blue sharks is that they can have more than 100 babies at a time, which props to that mama shark, those mama sharks out there. Another fun fact about them is that they live in groups typically, and they're usually ordered and segregated by sex and by size. So usually all the males are grouped together, all the females are grouped together, all the big females are grouped together, all the small females are grouped together, stuff like that. So I gave this a 13 out of 10 just because stop being so worried. Chill. But
Okay.
also you're cute.
Yes, they're so cute. Do you know if blue sharks give live birth? They do, right?
I didn't check that, but I'm assuming so.
Yeah, that's super crazy. 100 babies. If they give live birth and there's 100 plus babies, that's crazy to me. Also, if you out there don't know what a group of sharks is called, it's called a shiver.
Ooh.
Because it's so beautiful, it makes you shiver. That's not why. I don't know why, but I think that that's a really cool name for like a group of animals, a shiver. So yeah, fun fact, shark groups are called shivers.
Nice.
Next, we have this monster of a shark. And monster, I mean just the way that they look, because they're actually tiny. They're pretty small. There are two different species. There's the big tooth and the small tooth, named well for the size of their teeth. And they live in the deep sea, and they do that deep sea to surface migration at night, like most deep sea animals do. And I think that that's really cool. That is the craziest thing, that you can go between the deep sea and the surface, and the pressure changes so much, and it basically has no effect on you. Like that's crazy. So good for them. They are considered to be parasitic, and I think that there is something to be said for that. That's pretty cool. Basically, they're considered to be parasitic because when they eat prey, they don't kill it. They just take a chunk out of it. As you can see here on this poor dolphin.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so basically, they use those giant lips to like suction on, and then their jaw comes forward, scoops out a chunk, and they swim away.
Is that why they're called the cookie cutter?
Yeah, makes a perfect cookie cutter shape.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so there have been a few cases of people being bitten by cookie cutter sharks, which is why I say don't swim in deep waters in the ocean at night. You got to cookie cut it out, man.
Ooh.
So sorry for these puns. I know they're literally the worst, but I had to include them. But yeah, so they will basically anything that's there, if it's larger than them and they don't think that they're going to be eaten by it, they will go and take a chunk out of that animal, because you've seen it on tunas, you've seen it on whales, seals, other sharks, dolphins, people, so many different animals. So they are looking for a quick meal, and they're fast about it, so they're going to get it. So -5 out of 10 for being rude, but actually 15 out of 10 for being a hilarious nuisance. Like, they're not going to kill you. They're not going to, or really any of their prey items, they're not going to kill anything. They're just going to be painfully annoying and take a chunk out of these poor animals. But I think that that's a really cool way to get your food. Just the fact that they're so quick about it, and that they go after things that are bigger than them. I think that's pretty cool.
How big do these sharks get? Because that looks like a pretty big chunk out of that dolphin.
Yeah, I think the largest get to be around 3 feet. Like, they're not big. They're big enough to create a big enough hole that's noticeable, but they're not like 10 feet long or anything crazy like that.
Oh
so yeah,
gosh.
They're pretty small. They're crazy.
Okay.
I love these guys. I really do. They're super cool.
I love that they're smiling like that. They got a
I know.
smile.
Like a slightly evil, but also like, please love me smile. I love it.
Yeah. All right, up next we have the Soupfin Sharks. This is another shark that I was able to work with this past summer, or not this past summer, a year ago. So the really cool thing about Soupfin Sharks is that they have that translucent nose. So you can see in the picture of me and that shark on the right, you can see that the Soupfin Shark's nose is a little bit little bit see-through. And so my professor likes to joke that you can like put a little flashlight up against a Soupfin shark in the dark and it will glow like a lantern. So Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer shark. This shark, as implied by its unfortunate name, was heavily fished for its liver, for liver oil back in the day. It's not really clear whether they actually use the fins for soup fins, but they have this really fatty liver that was very sought after. So yeah, as I said before, they have a pretty unfortunate name. Soupfin is not really a great name to have as a shark, but it be like that sometimes. There are some other sharks around the world that some people consider to be Soupfin sharks as well. So Soupfin is the name for these sharks in the US. And then there's another species of shark called taupe sharks in Australia. And then another species of shark called the school sharks in the UK. And it's been debated about whether or not these sharks are related enough to be one species or not, but who's to say? That shark picture from overhead is another picture I took on my drone of a nice little Soupfin shark that I saw the other day. And overall, I rate this a 25 out of 10 just because I think that they're cool and they got a cool nose, and that one was smiling at me.
I had no idea that their noses were like see-through.
Yeah, it's so strange. I don't know why that's a thing.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Just the fact that it's like one specific part of their body. And it's not multiple places. It's just the one. That's really weird.
Yeah, very strange.
Well, cool. I like them. I think they're cool. You've sold me on them. So
Thank you.
And I believe this is our last shark, this Swell Shark. I think that they are absolutely precious. That picture on the top there is so cute. I don't know why all these sharks look so worried, just the shape of their mouth, but they're so cute and I love them. They are little balloon boys and they swell, hence the name. So when a predator is coming after them, they will basically swallow a bunch of seawater and blow up really big. So it's hard for the predator to get their mouth around them, and it's hard for the predator to pull them out of any rocky crevices that they've shoved themselves into. Pretty weird way to defend yourself, but I mean, if it works, it works.
Yeah.
And they are a glow-in-the-dark shark. So they are not bioluminescent, they're fluorescent. Those are different things. Bioluminescence typically gives off a blue glow, and fluorescence gives off a green glow. And we can't see this without the help of technology, but other swell sharks can detect it. So basically they're just showing off for each other, being like, hey, look at me, I'm glowing, I'm beautiful. And you know what? You are beautiful. So keep on glowing, shine bright like a diamond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love these sharks. I think they're super cool. So 100 out of 10 because they're swell.
Oh, I totally agree.
Yes.
They're so cute. They look so tiny, and that one that picture you have of it swollen is just so, I don't even know how to describe it.
It's super weird. I think they're a lot cuter when they're not swelled up, but you know, you got to protect yourself. So I respect it. I love these guys. I think that they're really cool. And the fact that they give off like this green glow, I absolutely love it. Fun fact,
live your best life.
Are my favorite colors. So bioluminescence and fluorescence, yes, absolutely. I'm here for it.
Sold.
The best colors. I love it. Yeah. Awesome. So I believe that was our last shark.
Yep, that was our last shark.
I just want to say thank you guys all for joining us for this today. We really hope that you enjoy it. This was supposed to be, you know, just something goofy, but also informative. So, and just going to get the word out there about some lesser known sharks, because there's a lot of shark species out there. And I mean, neither of us know of all of them. I don't know how you would be able to know about all of them, but just kind of get the word out there about some lesser known sharks and show our appreciation for them, because sharks are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Drop us a follow on these social media accounts. Tweet at us your favorite shark that you saw today, your favorite
Yes.
fact. We would love to see your own ratings on different underrated sharks. And yeah, you got one more thing to plug?
Yes. Also, please be sure to support Miss. Me, Jasmine, who was on Elasmo Week yesterday, Carly and Amani, who are also on Twitter. You can follow them. We are the founders of Miss. Our goal is to just support women of color in the shark sciences, help increase diversity in the field, and overall just help women of color have a community and do great science together, because that's what it's all about. That's why we're here. So yeah, be sure to support us, follow us on our socials, and yeah, that's what we have for you. We really hope you enjoyed
thanks so
it.
much for tuning in.
Yeah, I had a blast.
Me too.
Great. Thanks a lot, Jaida and Annabel. I was in our DM thread for Elasmo Week. I have toys of several of the rare species that you were talking about.
Yes.
Thanks, everyone, for joining us tonight. Be sure to come back tomorrow night and every night, same shark time, same shark channel, the rest of this week. And all of this will be archived on YouTube, and we will see you around. And remember, there is a question and answer session Sunday evening. So be sure to submit questions as a comment on this YouTube video, or tweet at either of these speakers or at Elasmo Week, and we will answer